and you're with the other guys, one of the things you're going to be worried about, and Costa touched on this, is getting past. So you'll laugh. Don't. Just literally put it out of your head, because one of the things that's holding you up getting faster is your concern about how you look, how slow you are, how in the way you are. And of course, and I don't know how else to put this, what your gigantic issue, no one else even noticed, because they are completely tied up with their gigantic issues. So don't sweat it. Don't worry about how fast you're going. Don't get concerned about what's going on around you other than the people you're racing with. Just try and be smooth and consistent. That will help you eventually be faster. Also, if you are on the line and you're smooth and you're consistent, then the people coming up behind you who are faster than you will see, okay, he knows where he's going, I know what he's going to do, I know how to go offline to pass him. If you're moving around, if you're inconsistent, that's going to be a problem. And if you're trying to help, that's a gigantic problem. Don't try and help. And I don't mean on the last lap of a race when the leaders are passing you, not to give them a little room. I'm not saying that. Like if the leader passes you, second place is close, right? You're going to meet some other people that lap. But don't get out of their way. In car racing, if I was teaching this school, I'd be saying over and over and over, you got to watch your mirrors. You got to be thoughtful about the other guys. I don't mean that you shouldn't be thoughtful about the other guys, but be thoughtful by holding your line, by being consistent, by being easier to pass. And if you do that and you work on your riding, then getting past is going to be less and less of an issue. Now we get to the flip side, which is passing people. And that's going to happen today probably. And what I would generally say, unless you have a very specific reason, pass on the straights. If you're faster than someone, you'll go through the turn faster, you'll pick up the speed faster, pass them on the straightaway where you're not going to surprise them. Don't be jamming under people on the brakes for no reason at a track day when we're not busy, right? Be considerate. But if you have to pass people, you have to come up with a plan. And the worst thing is you just kind of put your bike in the way and hope somehow you wind up in front. So have a plan. It frequently involves outbraking the other guy. You get up inside him, you brake at about the same time. He doesn't have the line because you're inside, you pick up the line. That's fine, that's a normal pass. But if you do that, you better be able to go faster than him, because A, you're a jerk, and B, in the end, theoretically, even if I'm 12th, I could really be winning the race if I just had a better grid position or a better start. So in my mind, I am marching forward, I'm passing people. If we start battling for 11th, we are slowing each other down, right? So what we need to do is get together, work together, and go win the race. Now, unlikely that's really going to happen, but psychologically, that is how you should approach this challenge. So what you don't want to do is start mixing it up over the minor placings, and you block pass, and you push each other wide, and your lap times are off by a second or two. You're never going to catch the people in front, and you're not going to be able to work on your riding. And all you're doing is riding with the guy you're with, going back and forth. That's probably not going to improve your technique, but it gets worse, because inevitably, if someone's about your speed, or even worse, slightly faster, you inevitably start doing what he's doing. You start mimicking him, because it's easier, because he's a little faster, right? Now that's great until he makes the gigantic mistake, right? And we see this all the time. I understand why the first guy went off. I don't understand why the other guy went off right behind him. It's target fixation, because you were watching him, you may have been operating your motorcycle in the same manner, so you just repeated his mistake. When he started wide, when he got in too deep, when he made whatever the first of the series of mistakes was, you joined right in. And the great thing is, his life's about to get worse because you're about to run him over as you're crashing right after he crashed. So, target fixation, very common problem in racing, and this goes all the way back to leading with your head, looking where you're going. And I've literally had the experience where I've seen the guy in front of me in trouble and I stopped looking, because I cannot possibly help him, but running him over is not going to help. That's going to make it a lot worse. So you need to lead with your head, you need to turn. And also, if at all possible, and everybody makes these mistakes, including me, when you're racing with somebody, try not to do what they're doing. Try and find your brake markers, your turn-in points. I try to look around them. I even try and cheat my bike one way or the other. Because if you're right in his wheel tracks, when you're slipstreaming, obviously that's going to help you if you want to try and draft and pass. But as soon as you get to the turn, I always try and get a little bit out one way or the other. So hopefully if he does something surprising, I don't pile in. And also with the hope that I can see my own markers. Now, perfect situation, you catch the guy, you've been following him for a while, you see where he rides, you see how he does, and you think, well, I'm faster here, so I can exploit this. So the next lap, I get my timing right, I changed my line in the corner before, and I've got my pass, it's right there, it's easy, because I figured out something I do better than him. However, and now I'm going back to the subject about all getting along, if you're not as fast as the guy, throwing the block pass on him is just going to slow you both down. Then he's got to get back in front of you. Everybody's pissed off. So be realistic. If you are, hanging by your fingernails with this guy, don't try and pass him. It's not going to help anybody. And at a certain point, if you can keep your own markers and keep your own line and watch him a little bit, not follow him, but learn where he's better, what he's doing maybe, you see what you're good at, what he's good at, that's going to increase the speed at which you learn. And hopefully you come in, and I've done this, I've sat down and not made any changes to my bike and thought, okay, if I do this, this, and this, it may improve my time. And of course, that's why it's very good to always have a way to check your lap times to see if you're actually getting somewhere, because sometimes when things are going really well, things are smooth, you've got a good plan, it doesn't feel that hard. I don't mean it's easy, but it's not scary because you know what's coming. Even when the bike slides, things happen, you knew it was going to do it, so it's no big deal. And you come in and you look at your lap time and you think that's great. Other times you're sweating blood and you come in and the lap time's just not there. I had a Friday years ago at a race at Mid-Ohio. I'm working on the bike and changing tires and doing all this stuff, and I got up Saturday morning and got back to the track and I said, we're putting everything back to where it was at the start. We're putting the suspension back, wheelbase, the tire choice, the whole thing. Because I'm 2 seconds off, and rebound adjustment's not going to find 2 seconds. That was me. It was me trying too hard, making too many mistakes, over-judging it when I hadn't been on the track for a year. Put it all back, start again, see how it goes. And also, this sounds awfully simplistic, but most people will agree, sleeping on it makes a gigantic difference. When you're international, when you can ride 3 or 4 days in a row, every time when you get up in the morning, you've been all night long, it's been going through your head, right? And you may not know why, but suddenly it's a lot easier. You drive out the pits and right away you can tell it's better than it ever was the day before. And most of us have that in us, that every night you sleep on the track, you're a lot smoother and a lot safer, and the lap times come far more easily. And that's true even at a very high level, right? Because imagine, somebody like Brett McCormick, when you got to ride against the best riders in the world on a track that you've never been on and they've raced dozens of times. It takes a lot of discipline to face off against guys in that situation, to make the most of it, to be able to have enough discipline to teach yourself the track and not panic about the fact that Carlos Checa's 4 seconds a lot faster than you.